Many know about slavery, but few discuss paper genocide. We did not all come from Africa, and most of us have Aboriginal roots that were stripped away due to reclassification and miseducation. As a native Black American and a member of the Muscogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. If you want to learn how to trace your genealogy and apply for tribal citizenship, send an email to mike@keymediapro.com to schedule a consultation. We're going to take a look at those $5 Indians on the reservation. We're going to take a look at those red, native, anti-Black $5 racists that fill most reservations. And since I'm a card-carrying member of the Muscogee Creek Nation, I think it would only be appropriate for me to focus on the $5 Indians within my own tribe. Come on, y'all. We got a Joe Anderson. Joe Anderson is cosplaying as a Native American and is against Black Indians for some reason. Anthony Beaver is also in opposition of the freedmen for some reason. Guys, let's get into it. Let's see what the $5 Indians got to say.
I hope it's upheld. I hope that we keep citizenship as it is, by blood. It's a full citizen, so that means I'm above a quarter. And that's also in our Constitution. To hold elected office, you have to be a quarter above. And I've always agreed with that. Of course, there's problems with this new form of tribal government. One thing, when the 1979 Constitution was ratified, they took out the House of Kings and they took out the House of Warriors. And I always thought that was a mistake. But this was never our form of tribal government. It was forced on us. If you look at our history, every treaty was a handful of people to sign it. They were intimidated, bribed, and none of them were upheld. No treaties. And this one that the freedmen are using to get citizenship.
Look at the wordplay, y'all. Look at the wordplay. Look at the body language. Peep how he had to take a big gulp before he finishes his sentence. The treaty that the freedmen are trying to use, you mean the treaty you signed with the United States government that said the freedmen would become free and get full citizenship and tribal benefits? You mean that one? It's not that the freedmen are trying to use something, $5 Indian fuck nigga face ass boy, but that's a treaty that you signed with the government. So why do you want to cry about the government breaking treaties and being Indian givers if when it comes to the treaty with the freedmen, you want to break that one, huh? You want to break that treaty, but we supposed to feel sorry that the government's breaking treaties with your ass. Oh, okay.
You know, it's in 4 days, it'll be 152 years old. So how far do we go back? You know, every single one of them has been violated. And like I said, it was always a handful of signers. It was never every town in our confederacy. When it was the full council, you can look in our history, and they never agreed on any of these treaties. Most of them were land cessions, starting back in Alabama and Georgia.
If your ancestors didn't agree to the treaties, what the fuck are you doing in Oklahoma? Why are you in Oklahoma? Lying ass motherfucker. Why are you in Oklahoma? If all of these treaties are fake and your ancestors really didn't sign any of these treaties, then what the fuck are you doing in Oklahoma when our ancestral Creek homeland is Alabama? Oh, you know, he's living on the res, getting them government handouts, and it's all peachy. But when it comes to the Treaty of 1866, hey, the treaty was 150 years ago, and some people signed, but not everybody signed, and you know, motherfucker can't even look us in the eye. Look at him, old bitch made.
Georgia, and then up until post removal, there would have been, I guess, two. One before the 1866 treaty, where Seminoles got their own they were under the Creek Nation at one time, but that one gave them their own constitution. I look at it as, from the beginning, what Creek people were, who we were, where we come from, and anybody who ever came into our nation. I mean, even on our rolls now, go back to the Dawes rolls, we had Mexicans on our rolls, we had adopted whites, and then of course the freedmen rolls. But when you go,
they adopted whites, guys. They adopted whites, and he doesn't have anything negative to say about the whites they adopted, but he got something to say about why he doesn't think the blacks should get proper citizenship and benefits, huh? But they adopted the whites, and he thinks it's okay to have the whites. Yeah, he think he's slick, don't he? He think he's slick. I'm about to pick his ass apart like a prosecutor. You know you done fucked up, right? You know you done fucked up.
To the Dawes rolls and look into that history, that was a mess in itself. There was no Bureau of Vital Statistics. There was no official birth certificates. What you had were people going around asking questions. And most of them back then, the freedmen, they did live around Creek people. They did speak our language.
Oh, so we lived with you and we like spoke your language, but like somehow we're not part of the tribe because we're too dark. We have too much melanin. We don't look slant eye Mongolian enough for you. Oh.
So that's how they identified themselves. Now, they might not be born to a Creek parent, but that's just what they told them. And there was really no investigation into that. That's in, you can look that up, and that's how they formed these roles. And it was no secret that outsiders, they wanted to be on these roles because when it went from the breakup of our communal land to individual allotments, that's why they formed the roles. And people wanted to know, how can I get this land? How can, we got 160 acres, 40-acre homes.
So basically he's trying to sneak this and say without saying that he thinks the black people, even though they lived with the Creek Indians and spoke the language and were a part of the community, he thinks they just want to get some piece of land. He's going to totally negate the treaty that the Creek Nation signed in 1866 with the U.S. government. He's going to totally negate that. It's because some black folks want to steal some land. But he ain't saying a goddamn thing about all them white $5 Indians they adopted into the tribe. Maybe his grandmama one of them.
Standing at 120-acre surplus land. But even on those rolls, there's errors. I've built a database for the tribe at one time, and to be an enrolled citizen, we have to prove by blood. So there can be no holes in our ancestry. If you're missing birth certificates, then you're not going to be able to be enrolled. And when you look at the freedmen census cards, you will see errors on their census cards. There's question marks by their parents, and then all of a sudden it's listed Creek as their citizenship. But if that was our case in our genealogy, we would not be able to be enrolled. So no, that's just some more errors with that came along with the whole Dawes Commission, the rolls, and but in the end. I would like to see our Constitution upheld, the 1979.
Sir, it's 2024. I'm not going to reach through the airwaves and make your face run into my hand. You can just say you don't like black people. It's okay. We know you grew up poor, methed out on the reservation in squalor, and you probably saw bad things about black folks on the media, and you developed a disdain and an anti-black sentiment. You can just be honest with us, because the rationale you're trying to give doesn't make sense. Guys, this is such a conundrum because this whole thing about blood quantum is something that was forced on us natives by the European invaders. Don't no other group of people go by no fucking blood quantum. The Russians don't say, hey, you have to have this amount of Russian blood. The Irish don't say you got to have this amount of Russian blood, or excuse me, Irish blood. I'm sorry, I get my Europeans mixed up. All of them look the same. But guys, no other ethnic group goes by blood quantum. The Indians, although they have a caste system, they don't go by blood quantum. No Asian country that I know of goes by blood quantum, but the $5 Indians want to use Uncle Sam's racist laws that they forced on the indigenous folks to hide behind their secret anti-black desires. Okay.
Even though there's errors in that, there's even, you look at this U.S. Constitution, there's still debating different laws that have stood since 1776. During the Dawes Commission at one time, our National Council did issue a resolution stating that they didn't think that the Allotment Act was in the best interest of people. And I personally would like to see our council do the same on this lawsuit, because I don't think it's in the best interest of our nation to add all these citizens. I like it how it is.
You know, I like it how it is. I don't want no color folks on the res getting some of our money. I like it the way it is. Come on. Come on. And guys, this video was years ago. This video was 6 years ago when the Creek Freedmen were first initiating a lawsuit. Guess what? Fast forward, we won that lawsuit. And I say we, even though I don't descend from a Creek Freedman, because let me give you guys some context. I'm a very open and very transparent individual. So let me just go ahead and give you guys some historical context. And this will also be a great advertisement for my genealogy consultation services, because this is the type of stuff I teach you guys how to research and find on your own. But let me just log in to my Ancestry.com account real quick so I can pull up my family tree and show you guys what I'm talking about here. All right, here we go. So my closest, most recent lineal ancestor, I was a card-carrying member of the Muscogee Creek Nation. Pull him up right here in a second. Most recent ancestor, Pleasant Tobler. He was born in 1903. Pleasant Tobler. Pleasant Tobler descended from Fred Tobler and Mary Adams. Now, this is how they get away with their anti-black racist shit, right? Let's go ahead and look on the Dawes roll real quick. Type in my ancestors roll number 1017. Find them on the list real quick, fast. We freestyle them. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. We got him right here on the Dawes roll. Pleasant Tobler. He's placed on the roll at 2 years old. Gender is male. Blood quantum is 1/2. There's his roll number. He's a Creek by blood newborn. Well, hey, why is my ancestor's blood quantum 1/2? Why isn't he full-blooded? Was like one of his parents white and the other one native? Like, what's going on here? No, both his parents were full-blooded natives. But you see, the issue is his father, Fred, was too dark. So they called him a freedman. And you see here on the Dawes roll, they list freedmen as card-carrying members of the tribe, but they don't put a blood quantum. There's literally a blank space in the blood quantum category. So certain tribes, for example, my tribe, they say, hey, if you want to be a citizen, you have to not just have an ancestor that was on the Dawes roll, but they also have to have a blood quantum. And you can see they don't list the Indian blood of the freedmen. What does that mean? All the freedmen were African slaves? No. Some of the freedmen were full-blooded Indians, no African admixture at all, misclassified Indians that underwent a paper genocide, prisoners of war. But because they're dark, they don't get their blood quantum registered. So now, since Pleasant Tobler's father was a freedman, they don't acknowledge his father's Indian blood, and now they mark him as 1/2. So then if you look at my citizenship card, it says in my blood quantum category, I'm 132. Well, goddamn, my blood would be more pure than 132 if they had listed my ancestor like a full-blooded Indian he is, instead of discriminating on his father because he was too black. So if you guys hear me slip up and say we when referring to the freedmen, I still take up arms with the freedmen. I still rock out with the freedmen, even though my ancestor is technically Creek by blood and I was able to get into the tribe that way, and I don't, have the same plight and same fight as the freedmen. I rock with them, and I think they need more allies like me who are Creek by blood, because they've been trying to do some slick shit with the freedmen. These $5 Indians, y'all, they running amok. And when we talk about this case that the freedmen have been fighting to get citizenship, they actually have recently won. September 23rd, a judge in the Muscogee Creek Nation ruled in favor of 2 descendants of enslaved people known as freedmen. And this case could pave the way for the rest of the freedmen to get citizenship to the tribe. And there are certain tribes that used to not let freedmen in, and then they changed their policy. Like I believe the Chickasaw is one of them. And then there's some tribes who don't discriminate against the freedmen at all, like the Seminole Nation. So as you guys can see, this can be fairly complex, which is why I do provide those genealogy consultation services.
Evening, I had a genealogy consultation to figure out my Native American ancestry. And I was given a lot of valuable information this evening, from the origin of the tribes to the different ethnic breakdown to how everything was ran and colonized before, the discovery of Columbus, and after he came over here. So I think that you will find the value in the information as I did.
Citizen by blood, we all have to go through that process. And even back during the Dawes days, there was full blood Creeks who missed out on citizenship, and I'm sure there was some freedmen who did have Creek blood who probably missed.
Oh, Oh, so now he's going to admit that there were freedmen who had Creek blood who missed out on citizenship, but he doesn't want to get that rectified, right? Hey, I do know there were some freedmen who were full-blooded Indians. They weren't no African slaves. There was Indians, but, I still don't think we should let the freedmen get membership. What is man's talking about?
There was, full-blood Creeks who missed out on citizenship. And I'm sure there was some freedmen, who did have Creek blood who probably missed out on it too. But, that was 156 years ago.
But we don't give a fuck how long it's been. We don't care. The tribe's constitution was written 150 years ago, and you still want us to go by what's in the tribal constitution, but you don't want to go by the treaty. Oh, I know some freedmen by blood missed out, but it was 150 years ago. Fuck out of here. They don't want me on the reservation. I'm going to get, oh, Lord, they don't want me on the reservation. I'm just going to hold my tongue.
They did get land. They received a lot of land. And I'd just like to see our 1979 Constitution upheld. It's still premature. As far as we know, they have not been served yet. We've kind of read over the case file that they filed. I did contact the nation about it, and the word I received was that they will challenge the suit. And there are
6 years later, and the freedmen are winning in court. He mad as hell.
There are tribal nations who freedmen have won the case, and they do have citizenship. The Seminole Nation, they were the first ones, and then recently the Cherokee Nation, and now in 2018, the freedmen are filing against the Creek Nation. But the word was RAG will challenge the suit, and that was good news. I was happy to hear that, and we'll be paying attention, and we'll see what happens. I'm not a lawyer, so all I can do is I hope that anyone ruling on this, whatever federal judge gets this case, I would hope they would listen to us and realize that our sovereignty is based on our heritage, and this would
and you're trying to bar us from reparations that our ancestors were given by the Creek Nation and the U.S. government based on our phenotype and complexion. You racist ass $5 Indian, Mongolian, pretendian ass motherfucker, you. Hey, I'm just saying, Mike TV does not endorse hate speech, but how can I do this while still following YouTube community guidelines? Hey, if there's anybody out there that's a film producer, excuse me, if there's anybody out there that's a film producer, I got a good one for you guys. I'm working on a script, okay? We're going to take, it's going to be like the Hunger Games, right? We're going to take a wooded area of Alabama, and we're going to take 5 Native Black Americans and 5 pretendians, and they're each going to be armed with bow and arrow and quiver and hatchet, and we're going to find out who the real Aboriginals are, Playboy.
Change that in so many ways. We could go on about that for a while, but true sovereignty is being able to make our own constitution, pass our own laws, and even nowadays, a non-native can take me to tribal court and sue me, and they have, and they won. Can I take a non-Creek to our tribal court? No. Can our light horse arrest a non-native? No, they can't. So to me, there is no sovereignty. There's a limited sovereignty that we have, but it's not true sovereignty. And I think if this 1866 Constitution, or the articles that they're using, if those are
not that they're using the Treaty of 1866 that was signed by the Creek Nation and the U.S. government. It's a treaty. Now you want to be an Indian giver? Now you want to break treaties? Ain't that what y'all bitch about? Every time someone's about to build a new oil pipeline, y'all want to bitch and grovel and want the whole world to feel bad for you, right? But now you want to break a treaty because you don't like black folks.
Upheld, I think it would just be another kind of historical trend that's been going. We've always had land taken. We've always had our rights given to us through the U.S., however you want to put it, bureaucratic imperialism through. So yeah, we'll see what happens. The way I look at it is not really like that. Like it's nothing against anyone black or anything like that. I just look at it as this form of tribal government was thrown on us. It's something that
I wonder if you know that I know he's lying right now. Oh, you got the new Margellas? That's what's up, that's what's up. I see you. That's your BMW? That's nice. That's your girl? Okay, I see you. But I just want to know one thing. You ready? Why the fuck you lying?
It's just what we have, you know. We could replace all of it, you know, and I'd be fine with that, but that's not going to happen. And like I said, we have our citizenship requirements. Here we are, you know, this Constitution was passed in 1979. To me,
and the treaty was signed in 1866. That predates your Constitution you created in 79.
The freedmen, once they were freed, they were no longer, they were kind of their own people in a sense. Nowadays, people aren't, I don't see it as them being born into freedmanship or however you want to put it. We are the.
But you're born into Native American citizenship, right? We're not born into freedmanship, but you're born into tribal citizenship. Okay.
You know, we're born with tribal ties, or however you want to say it. We're born with clans, or everyone that's Creek has a town that they belong to. And to me, that's what's federal recognition is based on, that an individual tribe has their language. They have unique ways which are different from other tribes. And
Mr. Batch says, why does he keep referring to the 1979 Constitution, and what does it say / mean? The 1979 Constitution was when they expelled all the Black members from the tribe. From 1866 to 1979, the freedmen had tribal benefits, tribal citizenship, everything. They were no different than a Creek by blood on paper. But in 1979, they redid their Constitution and said, hey, if you're going to be a member with us, you have to have an ancestor that has Indian blood. They have to have blood quantum, even though that's a racist ass thing forced on us by Europeans. And if you go on the Dawes rule, you'll notice they never counted the freedmen's Indian blood. So basically, the Constitution of 1979 was just to kick out Black people under the guise of, oh, we just want to make sure it's people who have Indian blood. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of a historical context and why he keeps, you know, desperately clinging to the Constitution of 1979, because that was the legal act where they expelled all freedmen from the tribe. If you were freedmen and you had benefits, you lived on the res, guess what? You got excommunicated in 1979. And now, present day, September 2023, the freedmen have won a case in court. They still have a battle to fight, but things are looking up.
So that's the way I look at it. It's not anything against them. The ones that do have Creek blood, let them in, you know, because we don't have a blood quantum requirement to be in our tribe. And that's something we've all had to do to get citizenship. I mean, I was originally enrolled in Alabama Quasarty and before the Creek Nation, and there was errors. And so they booted me off their rolls.
$5 Indian ass motherfucker. So you were a member of another tribe and you got kicked out that other tribe, and then you went to the Creek Nation and slithered your way in as a citizen of the Creek Nation, but you don't want the freedmen to get their benefits like the Treaty of 1866 stipulates. $5 fraud ass fuck nigga. Listen to this shit. See, I was a member of another tribe, but I got kicked out that tribe, and you know, now I'm a part of the Creek Nation, and I don't want the Black folks to be a part of this tribe.
Recognition is based on that the individual tribe has their language. They have unique ways which are different.
And no, miss me with that. The tribe have your language shit. Guys, I take weekly language classes with my tribe, the Creek Nation, the same tribe he's a part of. Barely 3% of our citizens speak the language. Most of these motherfuckers born and raised on the reservation don't even speak the language. So miss me with that whole, oh, it says speak the language. Nigga speaking English right now, ain't he?
Other tribes. And so that's the way I look at it. It's not anything against them. The ones that do have Creek blood, let them in, you know, because we don't have a blood quantum requirement to be in our tribe. And that's something we've all had to do to get citizenship. I mean, I was originally enrolled in Alabama Quasarty and before the Creek Nation, and there was errors. And so they booted me off their rolls. And so I'm in the Creek do to get citizenship. I mean, I was originally enrolled in Alabama Quasarty and before the Creek Nation, and there was errors, and so they booted me off their rolls, and so I'm in the Creek Nation. So
and now he's trying to gatekeep who can be in the fucking Creek Nation. They don't want me on the res, y'all. They don't want me on the res. Come on. They don't want me there. I keep this energy and then some IRL. If you know, you know. They don't want me on the reservation. Oh, Lord. You got kicked out another tribe, barely lucked up and got citizenship into my tribe, and now you want to turn around and gatekeep who the fuck can be in the tribe or not. Sit your ass down, Mexican, Mongolian looking ass, $5 pretendian, grandson of Elizabeth Warren with a suntan looking ass motherfucker.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think anyone that's against it, it's not a racist thing. I would hope they don't look at us like that to make it. I'm not going to make one of those generic statements. People say, well, I got black friends and this and, but yeah, it's nothing against anyone personally. It's what we have. This is our constitution. This is our tribal form of government that we have. So we got to do the best we can with it. And that's the way I see it. A lot of the comments and things on social media and posts and even some of the documents that I've read, it kind of makes it seem like the whole tribe were slave owners, and that's inaccurate. All my grandparents were full-blood Creek except for one. We were not slave owners, and a lot of families were not. And I would hope that's something that the public knows, that not all of us were slave owners. And
hey, I'm not racist. I have black friends, and not all of us had slaves. Face ass.
Historically, it never mattered. Even during the Creek War or whenever the Civil War, when Creeks were involved, everyone was punished. Even in the Creek War, our own people fought against us, but after the Creek War ended in the Treaty of Fort Jackson, we all got punished, and even the ones that fought for the U.S. And the same with the Civil War. It didn't matter that some fought for the Union, some fought for the Confederacy. Everyone was punished equally. And the same could be said with the ones that owned slaves. During the 1866 treaty, not everybody owned slaves, but we were all punished, and they were incorporated into the tribe through that treaty. So
I believe either way you put it, it doesn't matter which way he said, she said. Overall, to me, a descendant of the freedmen, or even back then the freedmen that are listed on the rolls, no matter how you put it, they're not Muscogee by blood. My understanding, they were a part of, back then, tribal towns, living amongst those tribal towns, and obviously in the homelands, and came over to the Trail of Tears along with our people.
So we just like lived with you and were part of your community and spoke your language and traveled with you through the Trail of Tears, but we not Indian. Okay.
I believe it was in when they started making the Dawes Roll after the 1906 and after Oklahoma became statehood. There was a long period between that time until 79. And so these, their grandfathers or grandmothers may have known the culture, Muscogee culture and language and ways of then, but the descendants today don't. And that's a long period of time between 1906.
And don't get it twisted, guys. A lot of these tribes were part of multiple tribes and multiple clans, and then they get delineated and differentiated. Whenever you talk about the Creek Nation that went through the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma, they are the sellouts. They the punk bitches who got down to lay down and took their ass on the Trail of Tears willingly. The Creek Nation members that wanted to stay and fight, they were the Yamasee, they were the Seminoles. When you talk about the Seminoles over fighting in Florida and John Horse in Mexico and stuff, these were a part of my same tribe, but the rioters who wanted to stay and fight the white man, they stayed. The runaways, they stayed. They called them the Spanish word Seminole. So most people don't even realize that the Seminoles and Yamasee were a part of the Creek tribe at one point in time before we split off.
It's to 79, and then you don't hear from that until 79. And I believe in the 90s they tried, early 2000s, some of them tried again. And it was my understanding that Muscogee Creek Freeman Band applied for federal recognition. And I don't know what the outcome was, but I can assume that it was, they were denied. I haven't heard anything since then. If they were approved, we would more than likely heard something today. And now they're trying again to become recognized as citizens of Creek Nation, not only citizens, but full citizens. You know, my like I said, my deal on that as a citizen of Creek Nation, I hope that the tribe, the chief, gets his team together and fights the case, and overall we win the case. I know the race issue has been coming up on the Freedman side, stating the tribe is prejudiced and racist towards them. You know, there are citizens that we have today that actually traced through the Freedman rolls to get to the Creek by Blood Dawes Roll. Back then, I mean, it still is true today, but when the Dawes Rolls created, matrilineally, if the father was by blood and the mother was African descent, you know, those children would have been listed on the Freedman rolls along with her. And we have citizens today that trace through the Freedman rolls and prove that their dad was on the Creek by Blood Dawes Roll. So we do have citizens today that are citizens due to that. So for me, that rolls out the race card, and that answers whether it's racist or not.
Now we're going to hear from a rider. Now we're going to hear from one of the pale-faced natives that ain't racist.
Well, my whole point on the situation is, for one thing, you know, our ancestors, you know, back then, you know, accepted them. You know, they were, a lot of them on the Trail of Tears, you know, a lot of them intermarried, you know, they had children. A lot of them are mixed bloods, you know, and it was kind of a, I guess you'd say, an honor, you know, to be accepted like they was, you know, and to ask them to go use the United States of America that put us on the Trail of Tears. Let's not forget that. To show proof, to go by their scale of, yes, you're an Indian, is a shame. It's a shame. You know, we shouldn't even have that ourselves. You know, here we are in 2018, and we're still declaring who's a native by their guidelines, you know, by their proof, you know, and here we are, you know, we call ourselves American citizens. I don't, but people call themselves American. They fly the flag at Creek Nation. We don't even know who we're part of. We don't know who's the enemy and who ain't. And they sure ain't the freedmen. We're trying to tell them who they can be a part of and who they ain't, which our ancestors done said they could be. And we're calling ourselves American citizens, flying a flag above Creek Nation that invaded us and massacred over 100 million of our people. And then they want to say, you know, it's about the veterans. No, 5 of my uncles were veterans of Vietnam. My grandpa was World War I, Korean. You know, that flag ain't got nothing to do with them. That flag, you know, represents 13 colonies. The stripes, the stars are a scoreboard as they took our land and invaded us, took over us. Now we call ourselves a part of them. And now we want to tell the freedmen they can't be a part of us. We don't even know who we're part of. And we want to use their system of, yes, you're an Indian, to make these freedmen prove who they are. That Dawes Rose means nothing to me. It's just a number, just like the Holocaust. They put it on their card. We wear ours in the back pocket. I don't. I buried mine in my backyard, you know. I'd have burned it, but I might get some free cheese one day, so I might go excavate it, you know. Otherwise, I'd have burned it. But it's just a joke. But you know, to me, I talked to some of the freedmen, and I told them, why you even want to be a part of Creek Nation? Yeah, you're free. You know, it means nothing. You know, it's a Holocaust number. You know, it's what it was in the beginning. Now we're still today using that and we got to look some of them are mixed blood, you know, and you can tell they are. And we're going to look them in the face and tell them, you know, Whooper DC said you ain't. You know, I know you are, but they got paper over there that says you ain't. You know, they can't prove it. You know, so we're going to just go ahead and just turn our back on you. That's not our way. That's not the Creek way. You know, one day we got to meet the ancestors, the one that we know is Creek, and you're going to face them, and you're going to put a card out. They're going to slap it out of your hand. Did what you got. You ain't got a heart. Talking about want to prove who you are by blood. That ain't about blood. That's by ink. That's Creek by ink. Put that Creek by blood. That's Creek by ink. By their ink, their paper. And that's a shame that we're going to use that. That sets precedence that we acknowledge that they decide who we are.
And it's great of him to point out the hypocrisy, because a lot of these card-carrying Native Americans living on the reservation, they still pledge an allegiance to their opposition's flag. I've been a part of psychedelic indigenous ceremonies, peyote, wachuma, and they got an agreement with the U.S. government that after every Native American song they sing on the water drum, they have to sing a European song. I was confused. We was in the TP and ceremony for 12 hours. I said, whoa, why do they keep throwing in these European jingles? Oh, because in order for us to have a license to harvest our sacred herb, the U.S. government forces us to be a Native American church, and we have to infuse it with European customs. I said, damn, y'all buck broken like a bitch, ain't you?
But we're so wrapped up in brainwashed. Like I say, we don't even know who we are. We got an American flag up there. It was flown over 100 million of our ancestors when they was murdered. Trail of Tears, same flag. And we pledged allegiance here, I heard, during the oak tree. The last one had a pledge of allegiance here, right here on this land. Right where we came out in Trail of Tears. That's how mixed up we are. That's how brainwashed we are. That's who we are. I guess if you lose your card, you ain't Indian until you get back $5 and get down there and get your new one. I guess you ain't Indian for that drive, whatever it takes. How long you lose it? You got laminate, sacred laminate, sacred card. What it is, what if we went to the old way? What if we said, okay, you gotta have scratches. Here's my card right there, scratches, still scratches. The scratches from ceremonies. Not that card. But so many people now today, they flash that card around. There's I'm Indian, look right here. They're Indian. They got to reach back here, to show everyone that they're Indian, and that's where we're lost at, And to me, it's just a shame that we want to go back to that. It's kind of like going back in the civil rights days. We witnessed this. At the beginning, we were savages killing us. We didn't want to be a part of them. We put us off in the reservations and everywhere else. And then the civil rights. That era, it's like that's what we're doing now. It's kind of like we're too good. I mean, I don't know if that's what you want to call it, but is it because of the cheese? Is it the cheese? I don't know. I guess it's the cheese. I don't see no problem with them. Putting them on the road, give them something. It don't matter. I guess we're fighting over cheese today. But at the end of the day, it don't look good. It don't look good on to our children. That to turn your backs on them. That they're not good enough. Let's look past the laminate. Look past that number. We got too many numbers anyway. We got roll numbers, chart numbers, social security numbers, phone numbers, lotto numbers, deal numbers. But just gotta look past that laminate and look at who we are as humans, as people. We're all brothers and sisters. And look past that laminate and let them be a part of us. They are a part of us through the Creator, but we've forgotten that. Now I guess it's about the casino. Ever since the casinos and money come involved, now you got tribes all over this country right now kicking out members. You ain't enough. It's because you don't want to share enough, and it just goes back to just like our quarter. You got to be a quarter to run for council. And now they're worried about them going to run. And I ain't even thought about that yet. I haven't even thought about, to let them run, this, that. There could be no negotiations, it ain't just a flat deal, and but we're already prejudiced against our own people. Divide and conquer, we divide and conquer ourselves now. That's how good they are at divide and conquering us, that now we use their system to divide ourselves with the people we know are our family. That might be Chief Floyd's cousin. He's gonna tell him he ain't Creek because America said he ain't, knowing he is. That's a divide and conquer tactic. And they're good at it. And they're real good at it. We do it now to ourselves. And that's a shame. That's a shame. Just like the quarter deal. I can't even run for council. But yet I'm a council member of Ojibwa. The Ojibwa Hickory Ground. They don't even ask for your card. They don't ask for how much you are. It's kind of I can run for senator, I can run for president. America treats me better, but I'm 4 different tribes, so I'm not a quarter of Creek. But yet America, I can run for senator and president. They treat me with more respect than my own tribe does. You got to be a quarter. It's about making money up there. They have got to the point where they think it's about culture up there. It ain't got nothing to do with culture up there.
Yeah, guys, you don't understand the infighting that goes on the reservation. It's like Game of Thrones on the reservation. They taking each other out, kicking Indians off of the reservation. You're not a part of the tribe no more. Guys, they say with the Creek Nation, you just have to have an ancestor, lineal ancestor, that has any amount of Indian blood, any amount. But still, black folks can't get in because they didn't record any amount for the freedmen, right? But let's look at tribes who have casinos. If it's a tribe with a casino, they say you have to have a certain amount of Indian blood. You have to have a full-blooded Indian grandparent type shit. So whenever it's money involved, they start getting real shady.
That's a money-making place. Culture's down at the grounds, ceremonial grounds. If you're talking about culture there, you're wrong. The mound, don't let that mound fool you. It's fake, and I'd rather have 12 Africans or whatever, Indonesians, anybody. As long as grandma's got a brand new pair of Jordans on, full tank of propane, a ride to the grocery store, a ride to healthcare, I'm good. Rather than have 12, quarter bloods over there and grandma ain't got no shoes on, grandma ain't got no propane, grandma ain't got no ride to hospital. I'd rather have 12 Indonesians sitting up there.
They don't want you to remember this. You not no slave, you indigenous. Fuck how they painted them Indians. You went to war with the French and the British men. Quite frankly, you was kings, Merovingians. They took the women and men, made them prisoners. Raised up the children to worship their images. Set up a lab to the genes and they mixed them. And this shit get way deeper than your pigment. What